Hey everyone, it's Hannah. I wanted to quickly ask if you are enjoying the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. It goes a long way in getting the show in front of other listeners. If you listen on a platform that doesn't do reviews, please follow us on social media, like the show, or leave a comment. Thank you. We love you guys, and we hope you enjoy the show. You're listening to The Tales We Tell, a podcast about spooky stories, unsolved mysteries, and local lore. I'm your host, Hannah Parch.
And I'm Katy.
Welcome back. Yay.
I told you I could rally. You don't have to be extra over cheerful.
I know, you're good at rallying.
You don't need to compensate.
Oh, man. Well, I'd ask how you are, but I know.
Oh, yeah, not great.
Yeah. Do we sound weird? Is it just me?
No, I think we sound okay.
Okay.
And maybe a tad echoey, but...
That's Jarek's problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
He can fix it in post. It's his fault for being kind of here for half-assing it right now.
I know.
Because football, like, I love football too, but...
Yeah. But come on.
You got a job to do, my friend.
I know. Jeez. We just got back from Raleigh, and part of it was, for me, a last-minute football game, which was great. I've only been to 2 home NC State games with my family. This one started at 8 o'clock at night. And I, didn't think anything of it until we were there, until, the second half started, and I was like, man, it's late. And we got home, and it was 12:30, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that sounds painful.
Did we used to just do this all the time? Did I used to just go to these games? And
I know I didn't.
I mean, I used to go to all of them. I used to go to every home game. And, thank goodness we won, because I would have been pissed off if we hadn't. So, okay. Well, I have one announcement that I really half-assed when I wrote down, so I'm just going to read it off my phone. My note is read the message off your phone. That's
cool.
What the announcement said. So we are going to be partnering with a local, I don't know what to call it. We're partnering with a friend of ours named Josh, who started a clothing brand named Ware. I'm telling this to Katy like she...
I am not aware of this.
I feel like we kind of talked about it.
We talked about... Let's talk to this person and see about.
Yeah.
Let's inquire.
Yes.
We've gone from,
I talked to him.
My awareness of the inquiry is.
I talked to him.
All right.
Okay. I say we're just going to be sharing what it's about. They're sharing our posts. We're going to be putting.
Cross-promotion.
Cross-promotion, yes. So I'm going to share what Josh sent me because I think his description of what the brand is will be a lot clearer than what my description is. And then hopefully it'll make sense as to why we're partnering with them. Okay. So he says, Aware is a clothing brand focused on mental health and suicide prevention. Our goal is to normalize these topics and to remove the stigma. I
wonder why that would be considered relevant to our
I know.
podcast.
He says, I'll be working on different causes over time that relate to the movement. The first one was regarding overdose awareness and prevention, which they did a thing at
They did a Narcan demonstration.
Yes, which was so interesting. Mm-hmm. We have now 2 boxes of Narcan in our closet, should we ever need them. Mm-hmm. He says we raised funds to help provide fentanyl testing strips and Narcan to the community for free to help prevent deaths. I'm working on the information now that can be shared if anyone would like those resources. The future causes will be related to youth and school reform, LGBTQ plus community, mothers and women, men, military and veterans, seniors, homeless and affordable housing, and more. Pretty much anything I can do to help make a positive impact on society, especially regarding mental health, I will do.
Awesome.
Yes. And my reply was yes, all of those things, all of those. And then I explained, essentially what we try to do with mental health.
Again, just talking about it.
Talk about it.
Normalize it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
And a little bit of armchair psychology because, you know.
That's, and like, spoiler alert for next week, I have a really great episode for that next week. I mean, not armchair psychology, but...
I'll try and be in a better mental state next week.
Totally fine. This is a perfect episode for your mood now.
Okay, good.
But I didn't want to wait for that episode to introduce Ware and this brand. So we'll put links, obviously, in the show notes. We'll be posting. I'm going to start reposting their stuff on our Facebook. I'm not sure if they have an Instagram. But just look in the show notes for the links. Check our Facebook, all that good stuff. Okay. Are you ready for a not terrible episode?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for anything that's not terrible. No, I'm kidding. It really hasn't. It's been terrible, but it hasn't been terrible. You know,
It's been terrible, but it hasn't been terrible.
like
Katie's had a sick baby
for a whole week. Whole week. Normally it's like a couple of days. No, this started like last Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
And we went to the doctor on Sunday, and then we had to go back to the doctor on Wednesday because he had bronchiolitis, which is worse than just bronchitis,
Right.
but not quite like pneumonia. It's like an RSV related disease, like under the umbrella of respiratory viruses and whatnot. It's under there, but it's not straight up RSV.
Right.
So he's had to have the inhaler, which he hates.
Of course.
And then, you know, finally we found out that he also had the ear infection. And, you know, he was really kind of too sick. Like, he was kind of up and down,
Yeah.
you know, Monday and Tuesday. And then finally we went back to the doctor on Wednesday because he was doing really great Wednesday morning. But by, like, early afternoon, he was super lethargic, like, not eating, not drinking, making me freak out. So, like,
Yeah.
not only have I not slept all week because I've been up with a sick baby multiple times throughout the night, every night. I've been by myself for the most part with him all day, every day. And it's been very stressful. Like, why aren't you drinking? Like, I understand not having an appetite, but please at least drink some water, drink some milk, drink some juice. Like, it was finally to the point that, you know, like all week, it's like, I don't care what he's eating. Like, oh, you're going to eat chocolate? That's fine.
That's fine. That's something in your
it's
body.
something.
Yeah.
And so it's been a week, but even though it's been awful, like having to spend so much time sitting on the couch, you know, holding him while he watches Go Dog Go, a show I have now seen every single episode of at least 4 times in the past week alone. There are 3 seasons, and I have seen
You've seen all of them.
all of them on repeat.
Oh.
But it was also like part of me, it's just nice for him to like slow down and actually want to snuggle.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the only reason you want to snuggle is because you feel awful, and I don't want you to feel awful just so I can get snuggles.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm doing my best to like, that's the end of it. Hopefully we will not talk about any more of the episode, and I'm gonna rally and not let my exhaustion and like own physical demise. Because I've run myself into the ground after this week.
Yeah.
Oh, but at least on Halloween, you saw the video, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was the sweetest video of my life.
So my plan was for all of us to put on our costumes and stroll around the neighborhood and do, you know, a little bit of trick-or-treating, mostly only to, you know, anyone who's out on their porch or any of the neighbors that we already knew.
Right.
But he was just so miserable by Tuesday evening that I didn't even want to bother him by changing his clothes. It's like, you're in comfy clothes. Like, he had his jack-o'-lantern shirt on. Like, he was festive.
Yeah.
And so we decided to go on a stroll, and he perked up, and he definitely got some cha-cha. So we got some treats, but he wasn't really into it. And then we got back, and we had left a candy bowl out. But he was very interested in the bucket and was digging around and playing in it. And so then we had some trick-or-treaters come up. And he kept, you know, at first he kind of kept handing me and Shelton the candy. And I was like, okay, here we got trick-or-treaters. Do you want to help out? And sure enough, we sat out on the porch for the rest of the evening until trick-or-treating was done because Critter handed out the candy to the trick-or-treaters. They would come up and open their bag or hold out their bucket, and he would reach and put candy and plop it right in their bag.
Just the most wholesome thing I've ever seen. I loved it.
He was so happy.
I know.
He would put a candy in the bag and then yay, clap.
I loved it so much.
By then, medicine had kicked in and he perked up some. So.
I love that. Meanwhile, we had 0 trick-or-treaters. And I sat outside. I like had my little chairs. I had our camp chairs and our jack-o'-lantern and our bowl of candy and my wine. And I think we sat outside for like maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, because it was cold.
It was cold. And like we have kids in our neighborhood. And I thought maybe I was like, I don't know. Like I know our neighborhood's not the best, but like maybe they'll like walk through here but on their way to the nicer neighborhoods. We didn't get anyone.
One of the neighborhoods, I think, has like an interactive map. Like I think there's like an app at this point. So, you know.
Well, whatever. We went inside early. I ate the candy and we watched Halloween Resurrection. The worst of the movies, but the last in the timeline of the Halloween timeline that we chose to watch first. And we are now moving on to the second timeline. It's a very detailed plan that we have. Okay. So, for our episode today, I am kind of taking a little page out of your book.
Oh, yeah?
I'm doing a little cryptid-y thing that hopefully is not in your book. I don't think it is.
Well, let's see.
Okay. Today I'm going to tell you about the Montauk Monster.
That is not. M is for mummy.
Oh.
Wrapped up like a gift.
Thank goodness. Okay.
Aren't you impressed that I can not only remember that, but just like pull out?
I almost thought about texting you and just being like, what's M for? Which one is that? I really should just get the book and look through it for reference if I ever want to do a cryptid. Be like, what letter is this? And this was inspired, by the way, by an episode of Paranormal Caught on Camera, which is my new show that I just watch for fun.
Is it trash TV or is it like actually good paranormal show?
It's mostly trash.
Okay.
It's not great, but like it's also a nice show that you can just kind of have on in the background because the clips they show, like you'll see like maybe 4 or 5 clips in a show. Some of them are good, but then it's like 70% just people talking about them. And so I'm like,
no, never mind. Because I'm like, we just finished Love is Blind, the latest season, which was like the trashiest of trash for like it's.
Yeah.
And we also just finished another season of Below Deck.
Oh.
Down Under.
Down Under.
So we're kind of out of trash TV.
No. I mean,
Shelton is the one that loves these shows. So.
I mean, I can always recommend Mythbusters because that's our other go-to.
That's not trash, though.
I know, but it's fun.
It's not mindless. You actually learn something. So
I know. You learn science. All right. So I'm going to take you back to July 12th of 2008.
That was not a great year. That was a year... Actually, that was about the time that I moved back to... No. It was the summer before I started my sophomore year of college.
It was the summer I graduated from high school.
It was the summer I didn't realize I was going to be dropping out of college.
Oh. Yeah. So I guess mine was the summer that I was getting ready to go to college. Okay. Well, that's neither here nor there. Okay.
Context. I got to put myself in the mindset.
Yes. All right. So July 12th, 2008, Jenna Hewitt, Rachel Goldberg, and Courtney Fruin, who I believe were all in their mid-20s at this point, were walking along the Ditch Plains Beach at Rhinestein Estate Park in East Hampton, New York, which is on the south shore of Long Island. And Jenna said, quote, "We were looking for a place to sit when we saw some people looking at something. So naturally, they went over.
What's going on over there?
What are you looking at?" And what they saw was your first picture in your dossier. So.
Dead animal.
Dead animal. So it is a...
Dead beastie.
Yes. A grayish, mostly hairless mammal carcass of some kind.
From like the hips back to like where the tail is, looks like a dog.
Uh-huh.
Like the front forelimb, because you can only see one. Some weird... It's hard to tell in like the lighting in the picture, but it definitely doesn't look like a paw.
You can actually see both of them in that picture.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's kind of hard to tell.
That's why it looks weird. So it does look more paw-like to see both of them. But The head looks like a weird angry bird thing with teeth.
Yeah.
It's got a beak, not a snout.
It has a beak. It's weird. So they described it as about the size of a cat. Although I also read some descriptions that said it was 2.5 to 3 feet long, which I would argue is larger than a cat.
Much larger.
It was either the size of a cat or larger than a cat.
Like, if you're talking tip of nose to tip of tail, like, sure, 2 feet for a cat.
Yeah.
But that's not usually how you measure cats.
Measure cats. Yeah, so I don't know. There is, I don't know if you can see, there is like a binding of some kind.
Yeah, on one of the forelimbs.
On one of the forelimbs. It does appear to have a beak, and it has long, sharp teeth that you can see, at least on the bottom part of its jaw.
The eyes are like, the brow bone or like whatever looks angry.
Yeah. So Jenna took this picture, and on July 23rd, which was my 18th birthday, the East Hampton Independent, which was their local paper, ran a story featuring this picture. I have no idea, mind you, because this picture is going to make the rounds. I have no idea how the picture ended up from Jenna's digital camera, because obviously it was taken on a digital camera, not on her phone.
Much better quality than a phone camera in 2008.
I know. I don't know how it ended up from her digital camera to these various news sources.
MySpace.
Probably. That's actually a good guess.
Could also have been Facebook, because Facebook existed at that time.
That's true. And she was old enough to have, well, she might have been too old. I think you had to have a college, have a college email for it. If she's 20, she's 26. I do know that part. She might have been too old for Facebook.
Well, no, Facebook existed while I was still in high school, so she might have been right at the end of college.
Okay.
Anyways.
Okay.
MySpace is a very good
guess.
We'll go with MySpace, because we never talk about MySpace anymore as a society.
We really don't.
Does it still exist?
I don't know.
I'm going to find that out in a second.
So, the East Hampton Independent ran a story titled The Hound of Bonnickville. Bonnickville being a pun on the term Bonnickers. It's a whole, you have to like have a bunch of inside knowledge to get the whole joke. Bonnickers, I guess, is like what people from East Hampton call themselves, or what you call people from East Hampton. I don't know. So, Hound of Bonnickville. It's a weird article. I read it. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, I feel like it's full of inside jokes, but whatever. They ran the story about it. And then meanwhile, the picture somehow ended up in the inbox of a woman named Anna Holmes, who worked for Jezebel. She thought that it was a viral marketing campaign of some kind, ? And so she forwarded it to Richard Lawson, who worked at Gawker, which is Jezebel's like sister site. These are both like news sites.
I'm aware of these.
Okay.
Sorry, I was also looking up MySpace.
Does it still exist?
It exists. It's just different now. It's more, I think, centered around music, like news, like, bands and whatnot. I don't know.
It'd be cool if it made a comeback in the wake of, like, if we were all like, we're sick of Facebook and Twitter /X. Meta.
I will
like,
never call it X.
I love
Meta.
whenever it's referred to now, because it was referred to a lot in like whatever. It'll be like X, formerly Twitter, because none of us know what anyone's talking about when they're like, someone posted on X, and we're like, on what? And then they have to be like, Twitter. They posted on Twitter because that was the dumbest thing you've ever done, Elon Musk. Come on.
I think he's just mad that he was forced to change his baby's name because California wouldn't recognize like
symbols.
Yeah.
A math problem.
It's like an alphanumeric code with, characters, not letters.
They're like, we don't recognize this algebra problem.
X-23 asterisk.
Yeah. They're like, we're not going to recognize this algebra problem as a name. Give it a name.
He's like, but I want one of my children to be named X. I know, I'll buy something and that'll be my new baby.
Yeah. I'll name something that is so popular that there's a verb that has been created off of it.
Also, I can't be the only one that when I hear X, I think ecstasy.
Oh, I think... I was going to say, I think porn. Like, okay, this is a true story. I got a
X-rated, I guess?
Yeah, like, I got a link. My father-in-law sent me a link for something, like, very random. Since it was so out of the blue, I was like, what is this? And all I saw was, like, something x.com. And I was like, is this, like, spam? Like, did someone, like, you know, like, hack his phone and send me, like, some weird porn thing? And then I, like, did, like, the preview thing and realized it was, like, a tweet he was sending me. I was like, I forgot that that's what Twitter's called now, is x.com. X.com sounds like a porn site to me. Add 2 more X's. What do you have?
A weird movie that Vin Diesel was in?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I ever saw Triple X.
I didn't either, but that also sounds like it should be a porno. Okay. So now Gawker has the picture. Back on this. So they're the first major news site to post a story about it. And they post on July 29th. And they dub the creature the Montauk Monster. Or they're the first one who uses that term, the Montauk Monster. It is a really short post. It's 87 words. It's like barely an article. And they call it a rodent-like creature with a dinosaur beak. I would call it well, I guess dinosaurs are birds.
It reminds me of a griffin.
That's a good description.
Without wings.
Yes. Obviously.
So a griffin is, you know, the body of a lion and then the head of an eagle, and it does have wings. It's more like a dog than a lion.
Yeah. But like a hooked kind of beak.
Yeah, but it has the beak, but also with teeth. So.
With teeth, yes. So this story immediately went viral, and a bunch of major news sites like Fox, Huffington Post, NBC all picked it up. And they still only had this one picture that Jenna had taken. And by early August, Jenna told Newsday, which was now covering the story, that the carcass had been removed by someone that she declined to name and had been taken to this person's backyard. Because, like, now all the news sources have picked it up and they're like, well, we want to see it. And Jenna's like, well, someone came and got it. And they're like, well, where is it? And she's like, it's just in his backyard. And they're like, who? And she's like, oh, look at that seagull over there. Like, she's just like not, you know, she's not saying, she's just being evasive. And another unidentified witness confirmed essentially that story and said that the carcass was now decomposed. Said it was, quote, skull and bones. And this person also declined to speak on the exact location of where the body was.
Sketchy.
A little sketchy. By the time everyone was interested, the creature wasn't there and no one was willing to talk about where it was. One thing they did speculate on from the beginning was that the creature possibly came from Plum Island, which, and like they said this from the beginning kind of as a joke. I'll tell you what Plum Island is in a second. Well, I'll tell you right now. So Plum Island is located off the eastern tip of Long Island, and it houses a federal research facility that's dedicated to the study of foreign animal disease of livestock.
Gotcha.
It's the only facility in the country authorized to work with live foot and mouth disease samples, and it specializes in the study of foot and mouth disease and African swine fever. And I think just because of the nature of what it is, people like to make up conspiracy theories about it.
Well, anytime you have like some sort of government facility, you know, animal research, like these are kind of like buzzwords for generating conspiracy theories around it, because the lack of information leads to misinformation.
Yes,
kind
exactly.
of like with your Area 51 documents.
Yes.
Like, we'll release a document, but 87% of it is redacted.
Yes, exactly.
So that makes everyone think that it's way more than it is.
Right.
Meanwhile, it's probably not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's probably just like names and dates and stuff that are redacted.
So, just, any kind of research facility.
There was at one point a rumor, I guess, that Lyme disease was being used, or Lyme disease as a biological weapon had originated at Plum Island, which was not true because I guess Lyme disease had been around before this facility had been built. Mm-hmm. Also, just a fun fact, it is referenced in Silence of the Lambs, one of my favorite spooky time movies. It's the place where they promise, if anyone's familiar with the movie, at one point they're trying to get Dr. Lecter to help them find the missing girl who's like the subject of the whole thing. And so they give him this turns out to be a fake offer, but they offer to move him to a facility, and then they say you'll get an annual weekend-long visit on Plum Island. Why that would be something a place he would want to go? I don't know. I assume they offered it to him.
Is that the only thing on Plum Island?
I think so.
Okay.
And I assume that was the offer because it's isolated.
But maybe, it's still, he can roam around, walk freely.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of security.
Yeah.
It's you can walk around this place. Yeah. There's only experimental animals here, I guess. So from the beginning, Jenna speculated, she's oh, maybe it's an escaped creature from the Plum Island facility or whatever. Mm-hmm. One of the guys who interviewed the girls right after they found the monster, his name is Nick Layton. I don't think he works as a TV producer anymore, but he used to. He says that he is confident that the creature did not come from Plum Island because he's been there and not because he's seen what is there. And there, it's weird. Oh, hold on. Let me explain. I'm not explaining it well.
All right.
Okay. So he visited in 2010 for a TV show he was producing. And he described really rigorous security screenings.
Wait, you said he visited in 2010?
Yes. So he visited after.
Okay.
Yes. So he's saying this after the fact.
Okay. Because I thought you said that he had interviewed the girls, right after.
Yeah, he did. And now, so he didn't say.
Years later, after visiting Plum Island, he's I don't. Looking back on their comments, I don't think it was. Okay.
Yes, correct.
You just threw that in there to make sure I was paying attention, but I caught it.
Yes, I like to
Brain's still working. Sort of.
So he said, quote, "The security is such that I feel comfortable eliminating that theory. It seems inconceivable that they would let their mutants escape." Which, to me...
Are they mutants, though?
Yeah.
Or are they just suffering from disease and,
and
disintegrating or whatever?
What he described was just essentially that they were really strict on them not being allowed to take anything from the island or from the facility. Which I'm that sounds normal, I guess, for a government building or whatever. But the way he phrased that, I'm well, that makes it sound that there are mutated animals on the island. You're just really confident that the security standards are such that they wouldn't be able to escape. Which sounds like Alcatraz to me.
For animals.
For animals.
Mutants.
For mutant animals.
Yeah, that does look a little Chernobyl-y to me.
Yeah, sure, there's mutated animals here. They probably can't get off, though. So it's probably not there.
Neither parts of this combo animal appear to be very aquatic. And
true.
And I mean, if it was safe enough to let Hannibal Lecter roam around, because I guess he couldn't island hop very easily, then I don't imagine a also non-aquatic animal would island hop very well either. Or maybe that's what killed it, was it tried to swim to a different... It did escape and tried to swim, and, you know, it died of exhaustion.
Yeah. You know, and now that I'm thinking about that Hannibal Lecter thing, I should have caught... That's a terrible place to let him roam around. As we have learned, islands do not mean safety. You're pretty close to Long Island. He could have swum, I believe. Swam. He could have... Listen, I'm not getting a lot of sleep either. I haven't had the week that you've had. I'm just also not sleeping for other reasons, called my husband who's snoring and also possibly the medication I'm on. I don't know.
Does it make your head swim?
No, it just makes me wake up every morning at 2 a.m. And then I have a snoring husband next to me who keeps me awake the rest of the night.
Text me. I'm probably awake.
Okay. I will.
I was up at 3 last night. This morning. Whatever.
I will text you next time I'm awake, because...
It was mostly because I woke up because I had to pee. But then, of course, I'm like, okay, go right back to sleep. Nope, wait, the critter is just chatting. I just hear him talking to himself. Just, ba, 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 ba.
He's talking.
Da-da.
He's talking to the demons.
Da-da. His shadow friends.
I don't know why it's so much creepier to call them shadow friends than just demons.
You know how he likes making random noises?
Yeah. As
kids do. One that he likes to make now is... he just likes going... like his grunty, guttural growl thing. And so whenever he does that, I'm like, yes, am I speaking to the demon that lives within my child? How are you today?
Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. So plenty of people and experts obviously weighed in on what they thought the Montauk Monster might actually be.
Besides a hoax.
Besides a hoax. Although you can take a drink, because the very first thing is many people thought it was just a hoax. I'm going to let you debunk this first one and tell me why it's not a turtle without a shell.
Because it looks like there's fur.
Is that the only reason?
Well, it looks like paws, not flippers.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, a shell is part of its body.
Yes. The main part is that a turtle's shell is, like, attached to its spine.
Yeah.
Attached to its bones.
It is its spine.
It is a bone, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just a squishy mammal underneath there.
No.
A lot of people thought it was a dog or a large rodent. There is... Listen, I almost scrapped this whole thing because there was a almost good argument that it was a pit bull. And when I went down that rabbit hole and thought that it could be, I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do an episode on a dead dog that is the same kind of dog that we both have. Mm-hmm. But luckily, our friend Jeff Corwin, remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a blast from the past.
I know, right? He weighed in on this. He jumped in on Fox News, of all places.
Oh, Lord.
I know. It was 2008. And he said, don't worry, everyone. This is a raccoon. So, he says, quote, what you think is a beak is actually the canine teeth. Stick with me. Mm-hmm. The toes and the claws are, like, pretty raccoony. The size and the body proportion. So if it really is like the size of a cat, mm-hmm. That's pretty raccoon sized. Mm-hmm. Some people claimed that the creature, they said it was too leggy, like the legs were too long. But apparently raccoons are quite leggy. Mm-hmm. Plus,
it's just how they're, like, if you see them stand up, you're like, oh,
yeah,
you're a tall little creature.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, because when they kind of, like, it's like they hunch crawl.
Yeah.
When they walk on all fours.
Yeah.
But then they stand up and then they raise their arms.
Yeah, they reach with something.
Oh, you stretch. And I think it's also the way their, like, skin, mm-hmm. like, not hangs, but, like,
It kind of conceals.
It looks like they're like little chunky cliff balls,
well,
but
they're
then
fluffy.
They stretch, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that. But it looks like there's fur on, its haunches there.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it looks like parts of it looks like it's been not quite skinned, but kind of skinned. Like, there's no fluff on its tail.
Mm-hmm.
I think even when wet, it would be fluffier. And, I don't know, it's almost like I can see some sort of, like, we'll call it the beak for now.
Mm-hmm. Hold on to that. You get to use it in just a second. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I've also seen animal skulls before,
mm-hmm.
and it could just be the lighting or whatever. It could be just a deformed one of these,
mm-hmm.
creatures that made it, like the nasal passages or whatever, more narrow and
mm-hmm.
beak-like than, like, wider or whatever.
Yeah.
And snout-like, but, like, especially if you look at the bottom part of the jaws, like, yeah, that does look like some sort of...
Yeah.
Not quite canine, but, like, also kind of rodent-y with the way the tip tooth. Like,
yeah.
And it could be that it's just missing part of the jaw. Like, I've unfortunately seen some, like, videos of animal cruelty, not videos, but, like, pictures of animal cruelty where the dogs have been more or less mutilated, like missing part of their snout or stuff like that. That's could be here.
Well, would you say that it would be helpful if there were other pictures?
I would think definitely, maybe some different lighting, different angles.
Well, great, because other pictures finally surfaced.
Finally.
Yes, you
can.
can.
I look now? Thank you. That's a map.
Just kidding. Look at, try the next one. Nope, keep going. No, keep going. Keep going. Damn it, did I not put these in here? Hold on. Oh my gosh, I didn't. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to find it for you. Well, here, you can look at...
The map?
I guess look at that for now.
Because I like the very amusing picture of the raccoon. Is it drunk in the pineapple in the zebra float?
That's going to come up later.
Is it dead?
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
I know. Man, I can't believe I swear I printed those pictures. Hold on. I'm going to find it. Here you go. Here's the other picture. There you go. Look at that one.
Okay, yeah, see, it seems, obviously there's wider instead of narrow.
I really ruined that lead where I was like, wouldn't it be great if there were other pictures? There are, and I didn't include them.
And you also gave me another theory. Dog fighting.
Yeah, so this is when I started to, like, when I saw that picture is when I was like, okay, that does look a lot like a dog skull. Yeah. With the ear.
And even the snout there, it looks like basically it's lost. Because I have unfortunately seen dogs whose, like, noses have been chopped off.
I know. So one theory was, like, a pit bull who had been, like, a victim of dog fighting and who had just essentially been thrown into the water. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of this also, the theory is that the hairlessness and the bloating and all of that was because it had been in the water for so long.
Actually also seen evidence of that too. One of the places where I would go do my water quality sampling frequently, I called it the possum site, because there were two large culverts and I would stand on one and sample the water, and kind of in the little bit of water space between two culverts, there was a dead possum floating in the water. And so, I had to go twice a month. So every other week I was there checking and watching the decay process of this animal.
Gross.
Yeah, it was gross.
The other thing I would point out in this is, like, you can see more of the fur on that one. To me, that does not look like... To me, it looks like... not possum fur. Like raccoon fur. Just, like, in the texture and the length of it. Like, what fur is left on it.
But it's also hard to tell because it's really matted. But it does look longer. Like, if it's a dog and used in dog fighting, it most likely is a pit bull.
That's not pit bull fur, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which made me feel a lot better And if it truly is the size of a cat, I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't like many, mini pits out there, but
they're called pocket pitties.
Listen, when I tell you I almost threw the whole episode out. So, anyways, just to show a different angle and to show that what looks like a beak was actually just a poor angle and was just showing like essentially the nose or like the snout had decayed in such a way that you're seeing the...
It's a pit bull skull.
Oh. Well, see, and that doesn't look like that.
Now, see, that right there, that's the bone.
Mm-hmm.
There's still flesh on the rest of it, so if you're just looking at the nasal cavity...
That's true. Look up raccoon skull, though.
It would be much more narrow and pointed.
Listen, I'm here to support Jeff Corwin and his expert opinion.
Could also be a raccoon because it is more blunt there.
Yep. I like that better. I feel better about the raccoon.
Do you want a palate cleanser real quick?
Yes.
Critter and I went to Tractor Supply the other day. We got some deer corn to make him his own little corn pit.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were there, we looked at some of the stuffed animals by the register, and he picked out a little hound dog. And he loves to give his stuffies hugs now.
Oh my gosh!
Like, oh, can you give your dog a hug? And so sweet. And he smiles real big. He's just the cutest.
I love that.
All right.
Okay. Well, I have more.
I can share that with you, and you can post that picture with the others, so that
thank you.
Anyone who wants to check out these images, I'm not going to do this for you.
Okay.
I thought about it. You can also see the wholesome critter picture.
Well, I have further evidence to support the raccoon theory. Okay. An anonymous source came forward a year later, so 2009.
Well, I mean, dude was talking about it in 2010, so...
I know. The story...
I mean, we're in, what is it, 23? Talking about it, so,
this is true. It doesn't die.
Except it was dead.
It was dead. True. So, an anonymous source comes forward with this story. Mm-hmm. He says, he and some friends had been on Shell Beach, which was on Shelter Island, which we'll get to. The weekend...
Is that my map?
Yeah, you can look at the map. The weekend before July 4th of 2008. Allegedly partying, I guess. They sound like frat bros because some examples of what they were doing, quote, a waterboarding endurance competition and, quote,
you've got to be freaking kidding me,
and a clothespins on your genitals challenge.
Never known struggle a day in their life. Let's waterboard our friends. It's fun to torture people. Yeah. Jackasses.
Okay. Allegedly, according to this source, they happened upon a dead raccoon. Wait, don't look at your other pictures. Don't look at your other dead things yet.
I was trying to find my map.
Oh, sorry. I'm really bad with order. Okay, so they happened over here is where Shell Island is. And this is the beach where the body was found.
Okay.
So they happened upon a dead raccoon who we are, for our purposes, going to believe died of natural causes. And
agreed.
In their frat boy minds, they said, let's give the dead raccoon a Viking funeral.
Hence the watermelon and floaty.
Because this anonymous source did provide receipts in that he had pictures. So, they took an inflatable rainbow zebra float, they put a watermelon in the center, and then they tied the raccoon on top of it. And then they set the whole thing on fire and set it adrift. Which, if true, and if it made it all the way over to our beach, it would explain how the creature was hairless.
Yep, burn off that fur.
It also, if you look at that original picture, it does look, it also looks kind of burnt. Like the skin kind of looks, like, like reddish in some places. Which also being in the water for 13 days could explain that.
Well, it looks like, that might be, that right there might be a patch of, like, burned, melted hair versus, anyway.
And then, like you said, it could explain the binding that was found on the front leg. So, the first not the only problem, but the major problem with this is in the map that you saw, the distance from Shell Beach on Shelter Island to the Ditch Plains Beach isn't insignificant.
Yeah. What is the current pattern there?
I'm so glad you asked, Katie.
Take a sip real quick.
Just go ahead and take a sip. So if you look at the map, which I'll post, it does seem kind of unlikely. Katie's looking at like the actual like route that this raccoon would have to take to end up oceanside.
It's unfortunate because I really liked that theory that it was the Viking funeral raccoon.
Well, surface current maps of Long Island around that time corroborate the theory.
Oh, good.
Quote, a drifting object could easily be swept out of Shelter Island Sound around the tip of the South Fork and southwest to Ditch Plains Beach. Additionally, wind data also supports the theory. Quote, according to historical weather data from a National Weather Service station in nearby Bridgehampton, the winds were blowing out of the southwest, west, or northwest, which would have pushed our plucky and singed friend roughly in the necessary direction to get him to Montauk. Which I'm very impressed that, like, whoever did this research and found the current pattern and the wind pattern and figured out essentially that it was
feasible. It's a plausible explanation.
Yes. And then also, like, the general consensus of Jeff Corwin and other, like, experts who have looked at the body have said it's a raccoon, probably. Obviously, DNA testing couldn't be done on it. We would like to it have been.
If the body's missing and in somebody's backyard.
Yes, it would be nice. And I would say that that's the end of the Montauk Monster.
Seems like a great place to tie it up. I'm ready to go home. Thanks, Hannah. Great story. Check out our Facebook and Instagram.
However,
oh Lord,
there have weirdly been other hairless, unidentifiable creatures turning up on the shores of Long Island.
Frat boys, stop burning raccoons.
Not even all of them look okay. So in 2000,
some of my other dead things pictures.
Yes, although the very first one I don't have a picture for. It's weird. In 2009, NBC News reported, quote, an odd creature that washed up on the shores of North Fork, Long Island. No pictures included with this story. All they said was it, quote, smelled like a mix of low tide and rotten garbage.
Eek.
Which I'm like, you're just describing the smell of a dead animal, but okay. They said it was being kept in a cooler of ice until it could be examined, and then there was no follow-up that I could find. And then in 2012, which is this one.
Okay.
In 2012, a bloated...
Looks very much like a shaved raccoon.
Bloated, hairless creature, which is essentially what all these are. This washed up along the East River shoreline. I don't know exactly where. But the New York City Parks Department suggested that it was a pig.
That is not a pig. It has toes.
I know it has toes.
And a tail. Like, I know that pigs have tails, but they don't look like that.
They don't have little hands. Yeah, everyone was like, it doesn't have hooves. And the Parks Department was like, well, we threw it away, so, oh well.
See, this, the hairless creatures showing up, I am leaning a little bit more towards the credence of the Plum Island thing, because it's possible that there's some disease that they were looking into that would, cause hair loss in animals.
Right. And, like, if that is a raccoon, because that was the other thing, is that the New York...
looking at these feet, Heck yeah.
Right? And I don't know how big that is either. Like, I couldn't get a good gauge on how big it was. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation decided it was a raccoon. That's what they said. From pictures. Again, it was thrown away.
PSA, if you're going to take a picture of, some creature or something or some weird anomaly, weird thing, and you don't have a ruler available to throw down for scale.
Banana.
A pin.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah. Because pins are pretty universal, standard thing,
Or like your foot. Just put your foot in the picture.
Again, feet are different sizes.
Well, that's true, but like... Well, I don't know.
You want to compare foot sizes real quick?
How big are... Oh, yeah. Well, they're relatively the same size.
I forget that you have...
Average-sized feet?
I have above-average sized feet.
I just said our feet are relatively the same size. I have like a nice 7.5.
I'm at 10.
And they look about the same.
On a good day.
They look about the same. Oh, man.
My slippers are in size 9.5 to 10.5. Yeah. My toesies are right there at the tip. All right.
Okay. Well, 2019 was our last picture. Not the last sighting, mind you. I found one as late as 2020.
Okay.
So this one showed up on the beach at Wolf's Pond Park in Prince's Bay, Staten Island. This one, to me, looks nearly identical to our original monster with just less decay.
This one looks even more charred.
Yeah. And, like, the fact that it looks burnt makes me wonder if it's not, like, a copycat situation. Like, if someone didn't burn an animal and throw it in the water. Which makes me mad.
Yeah. What I'm wondering, too, is I'm wondering if maybe somebody's got... some property or something, and they were doing a burn, or maybe there was a controlled burn or something, and this is just an animal that didn't make it out.
That's true. There is a dog in that one for size.
Yeah.
Which is helpful. But if it was just the one creature and that was the only one there was, I would say, probably just a raccoon, kind of a one-off thing. There's not enough for me to say this is, like, a cryptid and, like, some weird animal, but it's enough for me to say, like, what the fuck is going on, New York? And
tame your stupid frat boys.
Yeah, why are there... Yeah, either contain your weird citizens or figure out what's happening on Plum Island. And this doesn't even include the one that, like, actually showed up on the show, Paranormal Caught on Camera. That was like a completely different one. They just compared it to the original one, and that's the one I looked up. But that is the Montauk Monster.
I like it.
I'm glad. And we've decided it's not a dog, right?
No,
okay,
it's
good.
not a dog.
Good. We can all go home confident that no dogs were harmed, at least in this episode.
Yep. I'm going with raccoon.
Yep. I'm also going to go with raccoon. And I'm going to go snuggle my dog.
Yeah, same. Well, these pictures will be visible on our Facebook and Instagram. It's the Tales We Tell podcast. If you want to see the photos but don't do the social media, check out our website, thetaleswetellpodcast.com, and check out the pictures. Weigh in. What's your vote? Dog? Raccoon? Science experiment gone wrong?
Pig?
Something else we haven't talked about entirely?
Yep.
A bad taxidermy joke? Because that was one of my other guesses that I didn't get a chance to get to at the start when we first started talking about, like, hoaxes.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if it's, like, some prank that someone who does taxidermy was trying to pull. So, yeah.
And
check out those photos.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'll be having any merch come out with this logo, with Montauk Monster on it.
No.
But we do have some other really awesome logos, designs that you can get on pretty much anything. Just check out our Redbubble store. Search The Tales We Tell. And if you want to support us, but you don't need the swag or the stuff, but maybe some swag, become patrons at patreon.com. Search The Tales We Tell. You get early access, commercial-free listening, sometimes some fun bonus content, and every now and then we'll send out some, like, stickers and love notes, and it's just a good time.
Yep. And I'm excited since I've already got my next topic / I've already read half of a book for it. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll have a better week next week.
We're all going to send the good vibes. Thanks. That Critter's going to have a good week in school. He's going to be healthy. You're going to get all the sleep.
I need all the sleep. I know. I just... I don't know if I told you this or not, but the other day, before he got sick, I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and do some brainstorming. And I'm like, okay, what are some, like positive changes and things? Like, what are ways that I can be a better mom, a better wife, a better pet mom, because like with all of the cat's issues going on, I'm like, okay, why, I've made some improvements in her life that I'm hoping will improve all of our lives. Well, better pet mom too. And also, like just a better house spouse, like better, like little things, a better cleaning schedule, keeping up with, other things. Yeah. And, so I went through each one of those categories and, kind of jotted down some notes of like, what can I do more of? What can I do better about? And then later I was telling Shelton about it, and that's when it hit me. That how can I be better for my kid, my husband, my pets, my house? That's where I stopped. I am not a priority to myself.
Yeah.
And so that's how I have fallen into such disrepair that I am ill now.
Yeah.
And I haven't even finished half of a glass of wine in tonight's episode.
Well, and it's usually when you make those plans where you're like, okay, I'm going to like start doing things, like I'm going to make a solid effort to start doing things different and better and all this stuff. That's usually when life like throws you a huge curveball and is like, the you are.
Yeah. Like, yeah, no, you can get to work on that right away after you deal with this major hurdle.
Yeah, after I ruin your week.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Go ahead and put a pin in those plans and instead just take care of a sick kid.
Yeah. Well, I hope you get to take care of yourself this week. Screw all those other people except for your kid.
I mean, if I don't prioritize myself, who will, right?
Exactly. I mean,
my toddler? Absolutely not.
Shelton should, but...
He might love me, but he will not prioritize me.
He might cuddle you.
He'll only prioritize me if he wants to be held.
That's true.
And if Dad's not there. Actually, no, sometimes, today we were walking around and Dad was carrying and he was like, nope, I want Mom.
Aww,
so,
that's
even though
sweet.
I felt awful, my back was killing me. My arms were sore. I was carrying the diaper bag. I was also carrying the toddler all around downtown.
Nice.
You know what? I did it with a smile on my face.
There you go.
And I got lots of kisses, so it's fine.
There you go. Katie just finished up her glass of wine.
It was barely a half a glass, too.
That's fine. I get to sit here and I'll drink this after you're gone. To be fair, we drank the same amount. Yeah. I just can stay at my house and finish mine after you leave.
I'm going home and going straight to bed. I probably should eat something, but the idea of food, ugh.
Just go to bed.
Just sleep.
It's fine to do that now. So, what kind of goodbye are we doing?
Oh yeah, I need to get Critter's new,
ever evolving.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've heard it now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye? Okay, we want to try that one?
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.